There are many reasons why there is so much uncertainty in the world. Some of the major sources of uncertainty and instability include climate change, mistrust of leaders, increased geopolitical tension, and the dark side of the technological revolution. Not to mention Brexit, and we all know Brexit was the withdrawal of the United Kingdom, the UK, from the European Union. Global inflation is another factor. US-China trade tensions is also a reason for so much uncertainty. Inflation, the pandemic, the Russian-Ukrainian war, and did I mention inflation? All these successive shocks have combined to keep uncertainty and your blood pressure elevated. Here's why there's so much uncertainty in the world today. Welcome to Urban FinTech at the G-Spot Studios, where we try to make finance and technology sexy. I'm your girl G. So look, I don't know about you, but when I tell you, over the past few years, 3, maybe ish, it has been just thing after thing, trauma after trauma, drama after drama, and it has caused some kind of angst inside of me. And I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about this. So between the Russian-Ukrainian war, the geopolitical climate, the supply chain issues, inflation, there's just been post-pandemic so much that we have had to deal with as a human race. And this is a worldwide collective event. These challenges and crises pose serious threats to the well-being and security of the people and the planet. And they require more inclusive and cooperative solutions now more than ever in modern day history. And we all know that when the planet is on the line, it's like, what the So we know that through history, dating back to the 1960s, that experiments have shown people have less of a reaction to viewing an unpleasant image or experiencing an electric shock when they know it's coming than when they're not expecting it. That's because uncertainty, a long known cause of anxiety, makes it difficult to prepare for events or to control them. Now, worry can be useful when it leads to adaptive behaviors that reduce threat, but chronic worry may cause harmful levels of stress that can affect heart health and the functioning of the immune system, among other things. Dislike of uncertainty is associated with a number of mental health issues, including eating disorders, hypertension, social anxiety, anxiety disorders, and depression. And people who say they dislike it immensely report more of these disorders occurring at the same time. I know what you're thinking. They trying to kill us. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. The global economy continues to gradually recover from the pandemic and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And in the near term, the signs of progress are undeniable, in fact. Yet many challenges still cloud the horizon, and it is too early to celebrate. The IMF reports that global economic uncertainty remains elevated, and they weigh in on the growth. They go on to state that the shocks that have shaken the global economy in recent years have introduced a new normal of turbulence, driven in some cases by political fragmentation between countries and other areas. These episodes have also lifted uncertainty to exceptionally high levels, which in turn hurts economic growth, as their research shows. So to better track the evolution of these conditions, they updated their World Uncertainty Index to show more frequent readings that are monthly instead of quarterly. And they incorporated data for 71 economies dating back to 2008. And as the chart of the week has shown, and we'll take a look at it, the index fell in December, and the most recent reading, but has continued to hit elevated levels in recent times on the back of successive shocks, including most recently Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the associated cost of living. Remember, inflation. So as this illustration demonstrates, The war in Ukraine continues to be the dominant force of global uncertainty. And this was in January of 2023, so anything could have changed by now. And so the approach that the IMF uses is a text analysis. And these reports are by the Economist Intelligence Unit that allows them to classify the sources of uncertainty by analyzing which words have been published in close proximity to mentions of uncertainty. And they believe it's the first effort to construct a text-based monthly measure of uncertainty covering many developing countries and being comparable across countries. So as you see in this chart, it goes back from 2016 up until present day. So the light blue shading on this graph that covers 2016 to present day 2023, or at least January 2023, represents the UK. So that would probably be the whole Brexit debacle that happened. And then if you see the slightly darker shades of blue, that represents the US. And so this is a timeline of sort of the dominant force of global uncertainty and where they sort of fall on that spectrum. Now, the royal dark blue is trade. And you'll see that it looks like around 2019, that became a big issue. So right before the pandemic. And then all that yellow area is the pandemic. And so for about 2 years, there has been a great deal of global uncertainty around that. And then just recently, the war in Ukraine, which you can see in the red, has sort of taken over as the dominant figure within this graph here. So as you see, uncertainty jumped following the United Kingdom's unexpected vote to leave the European Union, and soared even further after the surprise outcome of the 2016 presidential election in the United States. And this was followed by the U.S. trade tensions with China, which caused major uncertainty for the world. Now, another big spike that followed again in 2020 was the coronavirus pandemic, which followed less than 2 years later by another shock from Russia's invasion, as the chart states. And now, in the most recent of times, in the past few months, you have the reinstitution of school loans that are taking place. You have the government weighing in and talking about UFO, unidentified flying objects, all of these different things that further contribute to our social anxiety as a world. And I don't know when this will ease up, because there just seems to be one thing after another, after another, after another. And then you begin to question, like, what the hell is going on? Hopefully we'll get some resolve. Hopefully things will come down a bit. But I was just at the gas station today. The prices were just outrageous. I was at the grocery market last week. The prices were outrageous. And I don't really see that there is some change happening, that there is some relief efforts that are being made. And I'm definitely not feeling those relief efforts. All of this uncertainty certainly leads to a level of confusion, which makes you wonder, is this a divide and conquer thing? Are these instances that are occurring across the world globally intentional? Why is this happening? And I just want to live my life. And so I go back to what I previously stated. Are they really trying to kill us? Now, as the saying goes, every joke has a little truth sprinkled in there somewhere. So who knows? Just try to remember the world is complicated. So just live.